Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is game 4 from DreamHack Summer, the grand finals, and Jaedong is now currently down 2 games in this set. It is 2-1 in, or down 1 game in this set I should say, but it is 2-1 in favor of his opponent Stardust. Jaedong is the red Zerg player in the bottom left hand corner of Neoplanet S, and his opponent is Stardust, the blue Protoss. In the top right hand corner, Stardust is an insanely aggressive Protoss player, and that last game, I mean, that was so close. Jaedong, and I really feel like if Jaedong had just thrown up spine crawlers in his main base earlier on, he would have been able to hold off those immortals, those sentries, and those zealots, and probably would have been able to win the game. To be honest with you guys, I think that's all he needed to do was just throw a bunch of crawlers up, but he wasn't, I guess he wasn't paying attention to his main base at that point. I know, crazy, right? Jaedong not paying attention. I mean, that doesn't add up. But Jaedong wasn't, and he missed an opportunity to win that game. I think he's really got to be hitting himself in the face now, and just thinking, man, I really misplayed that. I should have thrown up spine crawlers. I could have held off that ground assault. And I've got to commend Stardust for, you know, he pulled all of his probes out of his main base, and it makes sense to pull your probes away because A, your probes are under attack by Mutalisks, you don't want to lose all your probes. And so you gotta pull them out and build buildings somewhere else. And B, he actually ended up using the probes to assassinate the drones that were trying to keep Jaedong alive by morphing themselves into buildings. And actually the end of the game ended up winning, Stardust winning by using probes to win the game. So very great, solid decision making from Stardust right there to close it out. And it just shows that Stardust is very good at dealing with these high pressure, high aggro situations. You know, he's probably practiced them quite a bit. And really, to start game 3 off, he wasn't in the best shape. He almost lost his Nexus. He lost a ton of ground troops defending it. And Jaedong was on 5 hatcheries, had 12 mutas coming out. I thought Jaedong for sure had the game in hand, but just goes to show that no game is ever set in stone. Never count all your, all your chickens until the eggs hatch. So Jaedong here is down 1 game in this set right now. It is currently 2-1 in favor of my insanity Stardust. And Stardust now has everything going for him. He only needs to win 1 more game out of this one or the next one, if it goes to the next one, in order to win the set and take home that $10,000 first place prize. So Jaedong here definitely doesn't want to let that happen. He does have overlords coming in here, actually bringing in 2 overlords. Really wants to make sure that he has full vision, full information, full intelligence as to what Stardust is up to. Jaedong right now going for another hatchery over on the 6 o'clock position. This is one of those maps that I do feel like is a little difficult for Zerg. It's hard to hold off at third base because his third base is easily accessible from the right hand side, as well as this open area right here. So it can be a little tricky for Zerg, I feel like. Not saying that it can't be tricky for Protoss or Terran, but the way the map is designed as well with, there's not that many bases. A Zerg really, once he goes up to 4 bases, that's about it. It's pretty hard to see a Zerg go up to a 5th base on this map, much less a 6th base. So if Jaedong is going to win this game, I think he's going to try to win it somewhere in the mid game. Obviously not in the beginning here because he's gone for quick 3 hatcheries. And we'll see what happens. But one probe is actually, this probe is thinking about making something happen here. It's hiding alongside the ice cliffs and now going around the backside. And I think what Stardust is trying to do here is hide this probe on the bottom right-hand corner. And it looks like, wow, he just dodged those Zerglings. Although, no, the Zerglings are going to come up and check out the top of this ramp. And hello, says Jaedong. Don't even try to hide your probe from me. And so he is going to set those 2 Zerglings on that probe, and the probe will not be able to throw any proxy pylons up on the map at all. Nice job right there from Jaedong, just sniffing it out. There is a Zealot coming in right now from Stardust, though. And Stardust just sending this Zealot in because he wants to see if there's a hatchery here. This is actually a really good way for Protoss to scout, and I'm a little surprised that more Protoss don't do this. It's basically just 100 minerals for a free scout, and it's not like the Zealot is going to die before it gets to see what it needs to see. So it's a great way to scout. You can also harass a little bit. Finally, Jaedong does get the surround, but I think for 100 minerals, what is it for a Terran? 255 or something for a Comsat, because it could be a mule, so there's a big difference. And oh my god, Stardust here is going for a massive gateway all-in. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more gateways coming up, +7. This is what he did on Aklon Waste on Game 2 against Hyun, but Jaedong is bringing his Overlord in. Will he be able to see these gateways? Oh my god, he needs to turn this Overlord to the top right-hand side right now. Oh no, he's only going to see one, but actually all the gateways end up getting canceled. Stardust can't, no, wait, excuse me guys, those gateways are just disappearing on my map, so I could not see those gateways for a second there, but Jaedong is going to not see, he's only going to see 2 gateways here. Is it enough to know that something is happening? There looks like there are a couple of pylons coming in the bottom side of the map, so if Jaedong can see these pylons, it looks like he knows. Now Jaedong knows that this is an all-in. This is the, you know, when a Protoss player throws up all these pylons and has all these ground troops coming for you, it is definitely some type of 6-gate plus all-in, and Jaedong, I don't think is prepared for this. How is he going to be able to deal with this? He does have roaches coming out. Will he be able to get his roaches in time? He's got 8 roaches on the way with Zergling speed as well. It looks like he might lose his hatchery though. I'm not sure if he's gonna be able to keep it alive. There, the roaches are gonna spawn out, and maybe Jaedong will have enough, just barely enough, to hold this off. He's got to try to take out these pylons as well. Zealots in the front absorbing a ton of the damage, and Stardust still has a lot of Zealots and Stalkers out on the field here. Don't forget he's got that +1 weapons advantage as well, which helps so much against these Zerglings, because Zealots can then 2-shot them instead of 3-shot them. More Zerglings and roaches coming in for Jaedong. Zergling speed almost finishing up. Spinecrawler bringing itself forward to help defend the main hatchery here, the front hatchery, excuse me. Jaedong bringing in more roaches and Zerglings. Will he have enough? It's gonna be a war of attrition here to who can win this game, and Jaedong, everything is on the line. If he loses it here, he loses the tournament, and Stardust knows that. He's gonna try to end it right here and now, but I think Jaedong might just have enough roaches and Zerglings here in order to defend this off. The hatchery is bleeding right now. It would only take about 3 seconds of focused fire from Stardust forces to take out this hatchery, but Stardust knows if he goes in here to commit to killing off this hatchery, he will lose all of his Zealots and his Stalkers, and it might not be worth it due to a possibility of a straight counterattack from Jaedong. So he knows right now that he doesn't want to commit everything into this attack. He should actually think about destroying these rocks to open up the ramp a little bit. I'm surprised he hasn't done so yet, and now Jaedong coming down the ramp with a lot of roaches. This is going to be too much for Stardust to handle, and Jaedong, I think, is going to be able to hold off. He will pull back just a little bit in order to allow his Spinecrawler a few free shots, but Jaedong is looking very good right now, ladies and gentlemen. Very close call right there. Just goes to show how close of a line you can draw in StarCraft 2. You know, that build order from Stardust is designed to win the game straight up, and Jaedong was just barely able to eke out his roaches. Now he's droning up because he knows he's held off the assault, and he's gonna pick off all of these pylons so he doesn't have to deal with any more of those shenanigans. So a very nice job by Jaedong. And now this game is wildly in favor of the Zerg player. It's gonna be pretty hard for Stardust to recover from that situation, because the thing here is, yeah, he's got a lot of ground troops, but he has no tech to speak of, no Twilight Council, no robotics facility, although he's trying to tech up to them right now, no third base. You know, Jaedong, all really a Zerg player has to do once they hold off that type of gateway all-in is just sit back and macro and make sure you don't allow the Protoss a third base. And if you can do that, it's very hard for Protoss to get back in the game, because you can see here the supply disadvantage for Stardust. He's down to he's at 74, which is not very good at this point, 12 minutes into the game for Protoss, and Jaedong's at 110. So yeah, we even have Hydras coming out right now for Jaedong, so things are looking pretty good for him. If this is the game that he's going to win, I think I don't see how he can straight up lose here. It would be pretty hard for him to lose at this point, but you never know. That's the thing with Stardust. He's a pretty talented player. He can play a very high aggro game, and I would imagine Stardust here is gearing up maybe for one more attempt, one more attack. He's going to try to get the Robo Bay down, the Twilight Council down, which he has gotten out. He's going to try to get the +2 weapons out, +1 armor. He's going to do this delayed, you know, +2, +1 mass gateway Robo attack almost like he would have done it on 3 bases, but instead he's going to try for one more attempt on 2 bases, and, you know, it could work. He has a lot of upgrades going for him. He's going to have +1/+1 done here. I'd imagine he's going to wait until +2 weapons finishes here, because, I mean, that's just such a huge upgrade that helps so much. But then again, Jaedong is going for +1/+1, so, you know, Jaedong is no slouch here. He knows exactly, I think, what Stardust is doing. And in fact, I don't even think Stardust can really afford to wait for +2 weapons. I think he just has to go. Although +2 weapons is on the way. I'm not sure where the Forge is that's researching it. It's back here. He needs to drop a Chrono Boost on that, push out, and maybe make one last attempt here to win this game. And I think that'll be his best shot, and I like what he's doing here. He's going up here, picking off this Overlord. I think what he's doing here is trying to fake the 3rd Nexus. I don't think that Stardust has any delusions whatsoever of going for a 3rd Nexus. I think he's just trying to fake Jaedong out into thinking a 3rd Nexus is coming. In fact, Jaedong knows. I mean, he's sending his Zerglings in here to check how big is your army. And in fact, that is a very, very large army. I don't think Stardust is going to throw a 3rd Nexus up. I think he's waiting for +2 weapons to finish. In fact, he's waiting. He's going to get +2 ground armor as well. He really wants to make sure he has an upgrade advantage here. But the problem is Jaedong has Hydras out on the map, and Hydras just ripped through Gateway Robo like it wasn't even there. And without Colossus or Templar, I don't see how Stardust is going to be able to beat this army down. We'll see what happens. So Stardust is coming in with his massive Protoss ground army. A lot of Zerglings going around the backside here. Jaedong obviously thinking, hey, if there's a Nexus here, I need to take it out. But there is no Nexus here. No Nexus for Jaedong to take out. And so Jaedong would probably be best served sending these Zerglings back home to help defend, as that is a pretty large Protoss ground army. +2 weapons have finished up. +2/+2 is on the way for Jaedong, but I think Jaedong just has so many Roaches and Hydras. I mean, I just don't see how he can possibly lose this fight. He also has Spine Crawlers coming up on the high ground here to help defend as well, and the Mothership Core was forgotten. It is going to go down. So a loss right there for the Protoss player. And those force fields, I don't know if they were really that great. I certainly feel like Stardust could have thrown them down to lock out more Roaches. So a bit of, I think a little bit of misplayed on the force fields. Now he won't have as much Sentry energy. And in fact, you know, Stardust, I don't know, man. He's trying to go for this all in. There's actually another hatchery just to the bottom right-hand corner that if he wanted to, he could send his forces down to take out. But yeah, this is not looking too good for Stardust. And I just don't see how he can win this fight, because the longer he waits, +2/+2 will finish up eventually for the Zerg army. More force fields coming down. Really not the best force fields from Stardust. He needs to conserve his force field energy, because when the battle happens, he will need to lock out the Roaches and Hydras. So yeah, this is not looking too good for him. Meanwhile, a little bit of a skirmish going on up here, as Jaedong wants to make sure there is no 3rd Nexus on the way. And in fact, you know, Stardust has no plans, I don't think. No plans at all for a 3rd Nexus whatsoever. And he is actually going to bring his forces over to the left-hand side here. Going to hope to make an attack on another side of the map. But now, you know, he's hesitated for so long that Jaedong has caught up in upgrades. He's just about to finish up +2 armor himself. So without any Colossus, without any Templar here, it is going to be so hard for Stardust to beat Roaches and Hydras. I just don't know what he can do, but he is going to try at the very least, and Jaedong is just throwing up a bunch of Spine Crawlers now. He knows what is at stake here. All he has to do is defend against his attack. He knows that Stardust doesn't have a 3rd base. If he can hold this off, then the game is basically his. A lot of force fields coming down. Decent force fields, but then again, not really the best, because most of Jaedong's Roaches and Hydras are hiding behind the line of force fields, and I just don't know what Stardust can do here. Jaedong is now on tier 3. He's got Adrenal Glands coming, a million Zerglings, Ground Carapace. Yeah, it's getting exceedingly difficult here for Stardust. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go to a Game 5, a grand final game. Here comes Jaedong using Vipers as well, just in case Stardust had Colossus on the way. Using Vipers to abduct the Immortals. And Jaedong now just has to engage. And there we go. Roaches, Hydras, Zerglings, everything coming in, even Spine Crawlers to help. And Stardust is just going to be completely overwhelmed. There's nothing he can do. And GG calls MYI Stardust. EG Jaedong was victorious. We are going to go on to Game 5 and the final game, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys enjoyed so far. And this is HD signing out.